Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving into a land where logic takes a vacation, the geography of the United States. Because apparently, even the land itself decided to get weird. Imagine standing in 4 different states at once while eating a slice of pizza that technically belongs to none of them, or visiting a town that is literally owned by one man who just never left. And yes, there's even a spot where a river flows north because it felt rebellious. In this video, we are exploring 50 of the most insane facts about American geography, the kind that will make your map app cry for help. We'll talk about borders that zigzag like spaghetti, towns that moved themselves, and places where physics said, "I quit." Stick around till the end, because number 26 might actually break your brain. And hey, if you love learning strange things that make you question reality, hit that subscribe button, and let's start our little trip around the absurd. Number 1. Let's start with a classic, the Four Corners Monument. It's the only place in the entire United States where 4 states meet at a single point: Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. Sounds simple, right? Well, the real kicker is that the famous meeting point isn't exactly accurate. Due to a tiny surveying error back in the 1800s, the actual intersection is about 1,800 feet away from where the monument stands. So when you take that perfect Instagram photo, technically you're just standing near the real spot. But hey, close enough. It's America. Precision is optional. Number 2. Next stop, Hell, Michigan. Yes, that's the town's real name. It got the name in the 1800s when a local German traveler described the area as so schön hell, meaning so beautifully bright. The English speakers heard just the word hell and decided to roll with it. Now the town fully embraces it. You can get a certificate that says you've been to hell and back, and they even have a miniature post office for sending letters from hell. It's basically Disneyland for people with dark humor and good sunscreen. Number 3. There's a house in Idaho that's technically in 2 states at once. It sits right on the Idaho-Montana border, so the owner's kitchen is in Idaho and the living room is in Montana. Imagine inviting friends over and telling them, "Hey, could you pass the salt from the other state?" Even better, you can watch 2 different state news channels without changing the channel. Just move 5 steps east. It's like living in a geography trivia question every day. Number 4. Ever heard of Point Roberts, Washington? It's a tiny American town that you can only reach by driving through Canada. Yup, it's physically attached to Canada, but politically American. The only direct way in or out is by boat or plane. They even had to form supply groups to get groceries. Imagine trying to explain that to your delivery driver. Just drive through another country, then take a left. Number 5. Let's talk about Kansas. You've heard the phrase flat as Kansas, right? Well, scientists actually measured it, and they found that Kansas is flatter than a pancake. Literally. When compared using elevation data, the state's flatness index beat a pancake surface by a measurable margin. So yes, the cliche is officially true. If you ever drop a marble there, it might roll forever, until it reaches Missouri or existential despair. Number 6. In Nevada, there's a town called Gerlach that sits right next to a massive dry lake bed called the Black Rock Desert. Most of the year, it's an empty wasteland, but once a year, it becomes one of the largest temporary cities in the world, thanks to Burning Man. The rest of the year, it's quiet enough to hear your own thoughts echo. So, depending on the month, Gerlach is either a sleepy desert town or the world's biggest outdoor art fever dream. Number 7. Here's a geographical oddity that sounds like a math error: Kentucky Bend. It's a small piece of Kentucky land, surrounded on 3 sides by the Mississippi River and bordered by Tennessee on the other. The only way to get there by land is through Tennessee. So yes, it's a Kentucky town that can't be reached from Kentucky. It's basically Kentucky's long-lost cousin living in someone else's backyard. The population is less than 100, and honestly, that might be because no one can find it. Number 8. Let's move to Florida, where a place called Lake Okeechobee is so large, it actually creates its own weather. Because of its size and heat absorption, it can generate localized storms and cloud patterns. In other words, it's a mini weather factory in the middle of the state. So if you ever drive past it and the sky suddenly looks like a low-budget apocalypse movie, don't worry, it's just Florida doing its thing again. Number 9. In Colorado, there's a town called Lakeside. Population, 8 people. Yet, It has one of the most famous amusement parks in the state. Back in its golden days, the park was a huge attraction, but over time, the town basically became the amusement park. The city hall, post office, and even police station were inside the park itself. So technically, the mayor's office was located between a roller coaster and a popcorn stand. Talk about multitasking. Number 10. And finally, for this part, Maryland's Eastern Shore has a line called the Mason-Dixon Line, which everyone knows divided North and South before the Civil War. But what most people don't know is that the line was drawn to settle a feud between two families, the Penns of Pennsylvania and the Calverts of Maryland. After years of bickering, surveyors drew the line in the 1700s using chains, astronomy, and lots of frustration. It took 4 years and countless arguments over inches. So next time someone tells you don't cross the line, remember, that line probably took a decade of family drama to draw. Number 11. Let's start with a town that sounds like a GPS error, truth, or consequences. New Mexico. Yes, that's the real name. Originally called Hot Springs, the town renamed itself in 1950 after a popular radio game show. The host dared any town in America to adopt the show's name, and Truth or Consequences said, sure, why not? Now it's a full-blown town with that title on every road sign, every map, and every confused traveler's face. Imagine trying to explain where you live. Oh, I'm from Truth or Consequences. Sounds less like a hometown and more like a threat. Number 12. Now we head to California, where the border between California and Nevada slices right through the middle of Lake Tahoe. That means you can literally swim across a state line. One side is California, with strict environmental laws and fancy resorts. The other side is Nevada, where casinos start 5 feet from the water. So technically, you can lose all your money while still dripping wet from the swim. It's the only place where crossing state lines might just mean doing a backstroke. Number 13. In Minnesota, there's a region called the Northwest Angle. It's a tiny piece of land that juts into Canada, and to reach it by car, you have to drive through Manitoba. It exists because of a map mistake in the 1700s. Early mapmakers thought the border ran west from Lake of the Woods, but the lake doesn't go that far. So now America owns this tiny land bubble that Canada probably side-eyes every day. The locals call it the Angle, and it's one of the only places in the Continental that you have to leave the country to visit. Basically, it's the world's most polite border error. Number 14. Speaking of borders gone wrong, Bristol is a city split right down the middle between Tennessee and Virginia. The state line runs directly down the main street, called State Street. One side of the road pays Tennessee taxes, the other side pays Virginia taxes. The police from each side literally share the same street. If you get pulled over, you might want to double-check which state's ticket book they're using. It's probably the only place in America where jaywalking could technically be interstate travel. Number 15. In Nebraska, there's a town called Manawi with a population of 1. Yes, 1 single person. Her name is Elsie Eiler, and she's the mayor, bartender, librarian, and the only voter. She pays taxes to herself and renews her own liquor license every year. It's like living in your own private country, minus the traffic. If you ever visit, she'll serve you a beer at the local tavern, which she also owns. It's a small town, but hey, zero drama, zero crime, and 100% democracy. Number 16. Utah is home to one of the strangest looking places on Earth, the Bonneville Salt Flats. It's an enormous white desert made entirely of salt, left behind by an ancient lake that dried up thousands of years ago. It's so flat and smooth that people race cars. They're at record-breaking speeds. In fact, the ground is so reflective, it looks like you're driving on the sky itself. If aliens ever land on Earth, they'll probably start here, just to ask, is this your moon? Number 17. In Louisiana, there's a lake with a hole in it, and that hole swallowed an entire drilling rig. It's called Lake Peigneur. Back in 1980, a Texaco crew accidentally drilled into a salt mine under the lake, and the whole thing collapsed. Water started spinning like a giant bathtub drain, swallowing trees, boats, and even part of the lake itself. Miraculously, no one died. The disaster reversed the water flow of a canal and turned a freshwater lake into a saltwater one. So yes, Louisiana managed to break geography itself and somehow survived. Number 18. Over Over in North Carolina, there's a mountain called Pilot Mountain that looks exactly like a giant thumb sticking out of the earth. Locals call it Mount Pilot, and it's so distinct that early settlers used it as a landmark to navigate the area. From certain angles, it looks less like a mountain and more like a stubborn rock that refused to lay flat. It's one of those places where you realize nature has a sense of humor, and it's got great comedic timing. Number 19. Now, here's something that breaks brains. There's a town named Accident in Maryland. Legend says that when land was being surveyed, two teams accidentally marked the same spot for settlement. And rather than fix the mistake, they just named it Accident. It's one of those rare cases where the paperwork joke became real life. The people who live there even call themselves Accident, which honestly sounds like a jazz band waiting to happen. Number 20. Finally, for this section, let's talk about Alaska. It's so massive that if you cut it in half, each half would still be bigger than Texas. It stretches so far west that part of it actually lies in the eastern hemisphere. That means Alaska is both the westernmost and easternmost state in the US. Yes, the same state can be both west and east because time zones apparently gave up. If geography were a student, Alaska would be that kid who answered every test question with technically correct. Number 21. Let's kick off this round with a border that refuses to behave. Ellis Island. Everyone knows it as the historic gateway for millions of immigrants, but few realize that its ownership is split between New York and New Jersey. After decades of arguments, the Supreme Court finally decided that most of the island actually belongs to New Jersey. New York still kept the buildings though, because of course they did. So the next time someone proudly says their great-grandfather arrived in New York, technically he may have landed in New Jersey. Try putting that twist into a family tree. Number 22. In Arizona, there's a place where the ground is literally glowing. It's called the Grand Canyon Caverns, and deep inside, the walls give off a faint natural light caused by minerals and reflected dust. At one point, the caves were even designated as a fallout shelter during the Cold War, stocked with supplies for 2,000 people. Now it's a tourist stop where you can actually spend the night underground. Nothing says romantic getaway like sleeping next to 200-year-old canned peaches. Number 23. In Oregon, there's a mysterious spot near Gold Hill known as the Oregon Vortex. It's a place where balls roll uphill, people appear to shrink or grow, and compasses spin like they're dizzy. Scientists argue it's an optical illusion caused by the tilted terrain, but locals insist it's something paranormal. Either way, it's one of those locations where your brain gives up halfway through and says, sure, gravity's optional now. Number 24. Over in Montana, you can find a borderline that breaks the map. There's a tiny triangle of land called the Lost Trail National Refuge that technically sits above the 49th parallel, which should make it Canadian. But thanks to old mapping errors, it's still part of the United States. So yes, Montana basically stole a piece of Canada by accident. Nobody's fighting over it, though mostly because it's full of mosquitoes and moose. Number 25. In Texas, there's a river that vanishes. The Pecos River actually disappears underground for several miles before resurfacing downstream. It's one of the only rivers in America that literally plays hide and seek. Scientists believe it happens because of porous limestone formations beneath the surface, but locals like to joke that it's just tired of Texas summers and needed a break. You can't blame it. I would hide too if it hit 110 degrees outside. Number 26. Now this one's going to bend your brain. There's a lake in Minnesota that drains into both the Atlantic Ocean and the Arctic Ocean. It's called Hudic Lake, and it sits right on a continental divide. When the snow melts, half the water flows north toward Hudson Bay and eventually the Arctic Ocean, while the other half flows east to the Great Lakes and the Atlantic. It's like the lake couldn't decide which direction to go, so it said both. If water could have commitment issues, this would be it. Number 27. In Pennsylvania, there's a town called Centralia that's been burning for more than 60 years. A coal seam fire started in 1962 and still burns underground today. The fire caused sinkholes, toxic gases, and forced nearly everyone to leave. Only a handful of people remain, living above a literal inferno. It's basically the real-life version of a horror movie set. Roads crack from heat, smoke seeps from the ground, and signs warn visitors to turn back. If dawn Dante ever wrote about Pennsylvania, this would be chapter 1. Number 28. In Maine, there's a spot where the sun rises first in the United States. Cadillac Mountain in Acadia National Park. For a few months each year, it's the first place in the country to see the sunrise. People hike up in the dark just to catch those first rays of light hitting the Atlantic. It's peaceful, beautiful, and also freezing, because nothing says spiritual awakening like trying not to lose your fingers to frostbite. Number 29. Here's one for the linguists. In Massachusetts, there's a town called Shargagog, Gamancha, Ugagog, Chaban, Agungamog. Yes, that's one word. It's often shortened to Lake Webster, because otherwise people would need a lunch break to finish saying it. The name comes from a Nipmuc phrase, roughly meaning, you fish on your side, I fish on my side, and nobody fishes in the middle, which is honestly the most polite border agreement in history. It's long, it's complicated, and it's the ultimate spelling bee nightmare. Number 30. Finally for this section, the Mississippi River is so massive that it actually creates its own mini-climate. The river's size and humidity can change local weather patterns, often causing fog banks and sudden rain near its course. Pilots even report turbulence shifts when flying above it. So next time someone says the Mississippi divides America, you can reply, it also controls the weather now. Number 31. Let's start this round with Mount Washington in New Hampshire. It's not the tallest mountain in America, but it might be the angriest. It once recorded a wind speed of 231 miles per hour, one of the highest ever measured on Earth. The weather changes so fast up there that hikers can go from sunny skies to blizzard conditions in under 10 minutes. Climbing it is basically playing roulette with Mother Nature. It's like the mountain wakes up every morning and says, let's ruin someone's vacation today. Number 32. In North Dakota, there's a town called Rugby that claims to be the geographic center of North America. There's even a big stone monument marking the exact spot, except it isn't actually the center. Modern GPS data revealed the true center is about 15 miles away in a random field near Baltimore. But Rugby kept the sign anyway, because who's going to fight over it? It's like someone who keeps the world's best coffee mug. Even if it's a lie, it still feels good to have it. Number 33. In Wyoming, there's a section of Yellowstone National Park known as the Zone of Death. It's a 50-square-mile area where, due to a legal loophole, a person could technically commit a crime and not be tried in court. The reason? It's within Yellowstone, which is federal land, but the jury would have to come from the district's residents, and no one actually lives there. Congress never fixed the loophole. So yes, Wyoming accidentally contains a real-life no-man's land. Don't get any ideas though. Park rangers have zero sense of humor about it. Number 34. Over in Arkansas, there's a public park where you can literally dig for diamonds and keep what you find. It's called Crater of Diamonds State Park. People have found thousands of gems there, including one over 40 carats. You pay a small entry fee, grab a shovel, and hope luck strikes. It's basically a geological lottery, except you get dirty instead of broke. So if you ever wanted to feel like a pirate with sunscreen, this is your spot. Number 35. In Illinois, the town of Cairo is pronounced Cairo, not like the one in Egypt. It sits at the confluence of the Mississippi and Ohio rivers. Once a booming trade city, it's now mostly abandoned. A haunting reminder of what used to be. It's eerie walking through streets lined with decaying mansions and broken signs. If ghosts had southern accents, they'd probably live here. It's both fascinating and a little unsettling, like America's forgotten punctuation mark. Number 36. Hawaii is the only U.S. state that grows coffee commercially. But here's the twist. There's also snow. Yes, snow in Hawaii. The peaks of Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa rise so high above sea level that they get snow almost every winter. So technically, you can surf in the morning and build a snowman in the afternoon. It's the most confusing travel brochure sentence ever written. Hawaii basically said, why not have everything? Number 37. In South Dakota, the Corn Palace is exactly what it sounds like. A palace It's made of corn. The exterior is decorated every year with new murals made entirely from corn, grain, and grass. It started as a way to celebrate local agriculture, but now it's a full-blown tourist attraction. Each year's design has a different theme. It's part art, part architecture, and 100% proof that humans will turn anything into a competition. It's weirdly beautiful though, and yes, birds absolutely love it. Number 38. In Oklahoma, there's a place called Boiling Springs State Park. The name comes from natural springs that bubble up through the sand, giving the illusion of boiling water. It's not actually hot, but it looks like the ground is simmering. Early explorers thought it was volcanic, which caused a brief panic. Turns out it's just nature doing special effects before Hollywood existed. Oklahoma, come for the cowboy culture, stay for the fake lava. Number 39. Over in Georgia, there's a town called Juliet that was practically unknown until the early 90s. Then, a movie called Fried Green Tomatoes was filmed there, and the town became a tourist magnet. Locals rebuilt the entire movie set and turned it into real businesses. So yes, Georgia has a town that literally turned fiction into fact. It's proof that if you pretend hard enough, reality eventually gives up and joins in. Number 40. And finally for this section, in Vermont, there's a floating bridge that literally sinks as you drive on it. It's called the Sunset Lake Floating Bridge. Because the lake freezes in winter, they built the bridge on floating pontoons instead of traditional supports. It gently dips under the surface when cars pass, making the drive feel like a slow-motion water ride. Locals are used to it. Tourists, not so much. If you've ever wanted to question your life choices mid-drive, this bridge delivers. Number 41. In Colorado, there's a town called Leadville, and it's the highest incorporated city in the United States. Sitting more than 10,000 feet above sea level, oxygen is optional here. Visitors often get lightheaded walking from the car to the coffee shop. The locals, they treat it like cardio training. It's so high that cooking pasta takes longer, and baking bread can feel like a science experiment. If you've ever wanted to experience what it's like to live on a cloud, Leadville's your stop. Just bring extra lungs. Number 42. Down in Alabama, there's a river called the Sipsey River that flows backward, at least sometimes. During floods, the main Tambigby River pushes water back upstream, literally reversing the flow of the Sipsey. Locals call it the backward river. Imagine watching fish look completely confused, swimming in circles like they lost GPS signal. Mother Nature basically said, let's see how well you can swim in reverse. Number 43. In Washington State, there's a place called Dry Falls. It's a massive cliff that looks like a waterfall, except there's no water. It used to be one of the largest waterfalls in the world during the Ice Age, but now it's bone dry. Standing there feels like looking at a paused scene from a disaster movie. It's quiet, majestic, and somehow both beautiful and slightly unsettling, like nature's ghost town. Number 44. Over in Tennessee, there's an underground lake hidden inside Craighead Caverns. It's called the Lost Sea. It's the largest underground lake in the United States, stretching for miles beneath the surface. You can take a boat tour through the dim, glowing tunnels. The water is crystal clear and eerily calm, the kind of silence that makes you whisper even when you're alone. It feels like the Earth's basement, and honestly, it's gorgeous. Number 45. In Nevada, there's a massive dry lake bed called Fly Geyser that looks straight out of a sci-fi movie. It wasn't even natural. It was created by accident when a geothermal well was drilled in the 1960s. Mineral-rich water began spewing out, forming colorful mounds that now shoot steam 20 feet high. It looks alien, glowing, red, green, and orange. Basically, Nevada accidentally built the world's most psychedelic fountain. Number 46. In Missouri, there's a cave so big it has its own zip code. It's called Fantastic Caverns, and it's the only ride-through cave in North America. You explore it by jeep instead of walking. The formations are ancient, carved by water millions of years ago. Inside, it feels like stepping into the lungs of the planet. Cool, damp, and echoing. It's the only tour where you can say, my car went spelunking. Number 47. In Connecticut, there's a town called Union with fewer than 1,000 residents, but it borders 5 different towns, 3 counties, and 2 states. It's like the geographical version of a traffic intersection. People joke that if you sneeze too hard, you'll cross 3 jurisdictions. If if you're ever lost, just pick a direction. Statistically, you'll end up somewhere else in under 5 minutes. Number 48. In South Carolina, there's a place called Monkey Island. The twist, there are no humans living there, only hundreds of rhesus monkeys. They were moved there in the 1970s for medical research safety reasons. And now the island belongs entirely to them. You're not allowed to visit, but you can sail by and watch the monkeys rule their own kingdom. It's basically Planet of the Apes, but with sunscreen and southern humidity. Number 49. In Ohio, there's a massive mound built by ancient people called the Serpent Mound. It's over 1,300 feet long and shaped like a coiled snake. No one knows exactly why it was built. Theories range from astronomy to mythology to pure mystery. From above, it's stunning and strange, a silent question carved into the earth. It's proof that long before modern borders, people were already making geography weird just for fun. Number 50. And we finish in New York, home of Liberty Island. Most people assume it belongs entirely to New York City, but technically, it sits inside the waters of New Jersey. That's right, the Statue of Liberty is basically a Jersey girl. The border disputes were settled ages ago, but the irony remains. So next time you hear "Welcome to New York," remember, Lady Liberty is quietly thinking, "Actually, I'm from across the river." And there you have it, 50 insane, hilarious, and downright confusing facts about U.S. geography. From rivers that flow backward to towns that renamed themselves after game shows, America truly proves that even the map refuses to be boring. Every mountain, border, and misplaced lake has a story, and half of them sound like someone dared reality to stay consistent. Maybe next time we explore 50 mind-twisting borders that make no sense, or uncover 50 places where nature clearly didn't read the rulebook, or maybe we dive into 50 unbelievable travel spots that shouldn't exist, but somehow do. Because, let's face it, geography is the one subject that refuses to stay normal. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and tell me which fact completely blew your mind. Was it the lake that drains into 2 oceans? Or the town of one person running her own government? Either way, I'll see you in the next adventure through America's strangest corners.